Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, John Swanson, and welcome to November 5th, 2020. It's like we're in a whole different universe right now. There's a poem. Remember, the 5th of November. I wanted to take a couple minutes today to talk about my Facebook post I put out the other day and some of the things that are currently taking place right here, right now in America. First and foremost, 2 days ago on Facebook, I put a post out there, and I'm going to read it off. Regardless of tomorrow's outcome, 1, you are solely responsible for you. 2, every thought you have and choice you make is yours. Own it or be owned by it. 3, your brothers and sisters are not your enemy. 4, we battle powers and principalities, not flesh and blood. 5, no one will ever save you. 6, seek the truth no matter the cost. 7, knowledge is the only way out. 8, be the example you want others to be. 9, life is abundant everywhere, even in the deepest, darkest, most treacherous places. We continue to find life. 10, you, me, we all chose this destination in space and time. Be grateful to be alive. 11, let go of fear. And 12, how many strands your DNA will activate to once you've jumped off and don't look back. 12 simple steps, just like AA, NA. People like steps. People like one graceful foot in front of the other, marching forward. Now that I've shared these 12 different thoughts with you, all my critical thinkers, it's time we sort of evaluate what's taking place as of now, the 5th of November. Now, I know a lot of you, nationally, internationally, tuned into the election on election night. And wow, I have not watched mainstream media news in a long time, and I'm glad I haven't. Aside from that, it was incredible to watch mainstream media, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News, put up the map of the United States of America. And when I tuned in about 7:30, 8 o'clock, the first thing that struck me was the votes in Virginia. There was a red lead in Virginia. Blue was far behind, except they gave the check mark to blue, then shut down Virginia for counting and made it blue on the map and didn't talk about it for the rest of the night. They don't even want to bring up Virginia. They've got us focused on Pennsylvania. They got us focused on Michigan. They got us focused on these quote unquote, what they're calling, the media is calling keystone states, right? And whoever holds the keystone holds the power. Now, never, ever in our election history have we ever experienced this sort of chaos and nonsense coming out of the election. When the election's closed, when all the votes are in and the ballots are counted, by 10 o'clock, midnight that night, balloons are dropping on the next winner. That's how it goes down. Except this time, some things changed. Now, I remember in 2016 when good old Hillary Clinton was out there running, and she was, picked as the favorite. The media picked her. Everybody picked her. Everybody in Hollywood picked her. All the famous people picked her. Bernie Sanders bowed down for $650,000 and picked her. Everybody got behind Hillary. They had it. Sure thing, shoe in. We know how this process works. There's no way this other guy is going to beat us. And the impossible happened. People got out and voted, and they didn't expect that to happen. They had their keystone states. They had their key locations. They had their people in place. And the unexpected happened. Now, if you're the ones that have been in the game a long time and been playing politics a long time, and you know how the process works and the operation works, and something happened that you didn't expect to happen, you'd want to control the outcome the next time around, regardless of how you have to do it. We are, all of us globally, believe it or not, are witnessing election fraud, voter manipulation in real time. This is incredible. Now, if I was going to run for president, which I would never run for president, but if I was going to run for president, and I knew how corrupt the system was, and I knew how the system bred corruption, uplifted corruption, always wanted corruption, and I happened to get in there, well, you would want to use their own tools against themselves to protect you. What do you mean? What are you getting at? Well, let's say they pushed this whole mail-in vote thing because of what we've got going on, right? And as we've gotten closer to the mail-in voting deadline, we've seen a rapid increase of infections. Coincidentally, right? Coincidentally. So they've continued to push mail-in voting, mail-in voting, mail-in voting. Now, in a lot of states, that's something that's not new. You get your ballot mailed to you. You can fill it out early, and you can send it back, or you can drop it off at the ballot box, or you can wait until voting day and then go turn in your vote or vote in the booth, right? Now, we understand how the process works, and we understand that the ballots that are mailed out are legal federal documents, right? Right. Now, over the years, people have gotten really, really, really smart at counterfeiting, replicating, copying, right? In China, when they replicate something, they call it cloning. When they counterfeit something, they call it cloning. Here in the United States, we've dealt with counterfeit for a long time, and one of the corporations that's really dealt with it, not a federal entity, but a corporation, is the Federal Reserve. Even though they have the fancy name Federal Reserve, they are not a government entity. They are a third-party corporation. And over the years, people have counterfeited money. Now, they've taken precautions over the years to stop counterfeiting. They've got serial numbers. On here there is, and it's hard to see, but I've got my black light here. And on here there is a light up line that goes right across the front here that says USD $10. And then on the $20 bills, the $50 bills, and $100 bills, they put magnetic strips on them. And then they put RFID tags in them. They've taken all these steps to make sure that this bill with this serial number, with this stamp, and so on and so forth is the only one in circulation. Now let's slide that over to ballots. You want to run a fair, clean election. You want to enfranchise the people to get out and utilize their voice, their so-called right to vote, right? And most of the time, the government doesn't want to enfranchise you. They don't want to give you knowledge. They don't want to give you power. They don't want to give you a leg up against them. They want you to think that you need them for you to be able to live this amazing life that you're having, but you don't. Aside from that, if you wanted to run a clean, fair election and you wanted to enfranchise people, you would make sure that everybody who was a citizen of the United States who was on the voter registry all got legal ballots, not counterfeited, legal, printed at a specific location, identifying marks, information, and perhaps, if you were really smart, you'd put some stuff on there that you maybe wouldn't be able to see with a black light. You might want to put something on there that you could see with infrared. And there's technology out there that, excuse me, has the ability to see infrared invisible ink with night vision goggles. Now, there was 12 states on election night that had the National Guard put into place to oversee the counting of ballots. Now, where were those 12 National Guards deployed to? What states, what cities? I'll let you look that up. I'll let you find that information out. Now, the mainstream media has been driving this narrative the entire time, which again, I'm so glad I have not watched mainstream media in a long, long time, because if you do, you are heavily influenced into thinking and believing specific narratives that are absolutely nonsense, 100%. And if you don't look outside of that and you're not aware that there's something outside of that that exists, that's like seeing a hot air balloon for the first time, not knowing that you could fly. It's, whoa, that's incredible. That's got to be impossible. How can that hot air balloon fly? I don't get it. The mainstream media is telling you, you're a lead balloon, you're heavy, you can't float, you're stuck to this ground, you're never going to get off of it. And then all of a sudden, something comes along that's a hot air balloon, and it changes your perception. It's a paradigm shift. There is a literal paradigm shift happening at this very moment. We have election fraud, voter manipulation. We have tracked and traced ballots. We have them with markings on them that are only identifiable through military equipment, right? And so how do we cause a distraction from that? Oh, I know. Let's board up all the major cities and all the businesses in those major cities. And let's not protest the first night. No. Because if we protest the first night, that's just too conspicuous, right? Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all these fascists, which are claiming to be anti-fascists, all these fascists are being paid to go into these cities. And then what? The first night that the mainstream media can't declare blue the winner because they have to slowly manipulate it and throw out so much information that people can't seem to keep track of it. At the same time, though, you are making people aware that you are manipulating them, which it's genius. It's perfect. The only way to get caught cheating is to get caught in the act, and that's exactly what's happening. This doesn't have to do with blue. This doesn't have to do with red. This has to do with information, transparency, and freedom. If you feel that your right to vote actually matters and that it's not just a right, because they're privileges, they're not rights, they're privileges. But if you think that you have this right to vote and this really matters and your voice really matters, regardless of who you voted for, our entire democratic system is being manipulated. And at the same time, the mainstream media is telling you, we've never had anybody ever interfere with any of our elections. That's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. If you don't know who George Soros is and any of his open care initiative groups, you need to start doing some independent research aside from what the TV's telling you. Because television is telling lies to the people's vision, but they have to see it to believe it. And that's where we're at right now. So again, in these 12 steps, let's review the 12 steps that I put out on the 2 days before, or 2 days ago, just before elections. 1, you are solely responsible for you. No government, no mother, no father, no grandmother, no grandfather, no brother, no sister, no uncle, aunt, nephew, whatever. Nobody's responsible for you except you. 2, every thought you have and choice you make is yours. Own it or be owned by it. So if you really think that we had this massive influx of blue and people that are pro going back to the way things used to be, you're tripping, because that's not the case. People do not want more government. People do not want more of the lies and manipulation and corruption. And it's being exposed. And the people who are committing the lies and the manipulation and the corruption are going to do anything and everything and tell you anything and everything to maintain their status quo. It's just how it works. As much as we think that there's justice in the legal system, there hasn't been, but it's changing. There hasn't been accountability, but it's changing, and we get to witness that. 3, your brothers and sisters are not the enemy, regardless of which way any of us voted, whether it was for Biden, Trump, Kanye, whoever else was on the ballot. The most important thing here is we are all one, and we all need to come together and say enough of the manipulation, enough of the lies, enough of the control. Because it's not serving anyone but the people who are putting it out there. 4, we battle powers and principalities, not flesh and blood. This is more true than ever. 99% of all of the media is owned by 6 corporations. And these 6 corporations want you to buy whatever they're selling from whoever their advertisers are and not question any of the narrative. Don't question them. Don't think for yourself. Just believe what they say. That's all they want. Believe what they say. Don't think for yourself. Don't be independent. No. Come to us for all your information. We're going to tell you the way it is. We're going to give you the facts. The fact is they're lying constantly. And the worst part is a lot of those people who do those jobs on the streets that are out there trying to get the information are following an agenda, and they have no clue that they're doing it. They're good people. That's why we say we don't battle against flesh or blood. We battle against powers and principalities. And when these people go to work for these businesses or corporations, right, they're going to have some loyalty. They think that this group's doing this way, and that's goes with their morals and their values. And right now, oh man, I was watching the news yesterday. One of the local reporters was talking about how never in the history of Colorado have we been so blue. We've always been purple, red, and blue. And he's like, I've never seen the ballot close, the ballot counting close so early in Colorado and claim a victor. And this is coming from a guy who's part of the mainstream. Like, there's glitches in the matrix happening right now in front of us, and we get to witness it because they are good people. Just doing a job, just trying to make it ahead in life in this matrix system of division and duality. And they're trying to give us the facts because they think that they're coming through a trusted system, right? But they don't know that there's agenda and there's boards of directors and there's so many different layers to it. And they're just in front of the camera trying to give you information to get that hot piece out, to stay relevant, right? To get those ratings. That's all they care about. So again, we battle powers and principalities, not flesh and blood. And it's not just government, it's education, it's medical, it's religion. It's all of the different facets right now are all coming together to test humanity, see if we're just going to crumble and sit down and take whatever they tell us, or we're going to stand up, find our own morals and values and connection to creation and say enough is enough. This is not living. All right. Number 5, no one will ever save you, regardless of how you voted or what God in the sky you currently believe in. Nobody's going to save you. You're here for you. You have everything you need. It's part of the agreement, right? You come into this world with nothing, you leave with nothing, but as long as you are following your path, everything you need will be supplied to you, not everything you want. And the system shows you wants, not needs. And we need to get back to being focused on needs. There are people in this world who have real needs, and we have all of the information, knowledge, and technology to solve these needs and these problems, right? But if we solve them, well, then we put somebody out of business, and that's not good for business. No, it's not about being good or bad for business. It's about pushing humanity to the next level. We don't need a revolution. We need an evolution of thinking, an evolution of compassion, an evolution of understanding, and an evolution of do no harm, take no shit, right? No authority exists. Nobody's going to come save you. You are here to save you from this 3D matrix of duality. Moving on. 6, seek the truth no matter the cost. Right? That sounds so easy to say, and it sounds so scary when you say it. Seek the truth no matter the cost. I want to give a big shout out to my good friend, Jacob Israel. Jacob is amazing, and he has been on this path of seeking the truth no matter what the cost for years now. And because of that, he is given what he needs. We always have wants, but he's given what he needs at the exact moment that he needs it. And by seeing that week in, week out, month after year, and watching somebody else transition and watching their faith and going through your own challenges and transitions and testing your own faith, it's a huge reminder that there is something well beyond our human understanding that is in control of all of this. No one will ever save you. You're here to save you. You are your own hero. 6, seek the truth no matter the cost. Again, Jacob Israel. Seek the truth. The truth is the truth. It is not disputable. There's no opinion about it. The truth is the truth. However, the truth can shatter your own reality. So be prepared for that. But beyond your reality is something far more unimaginable and beautiful waiting for all of us on the other side of being our own hero. 7, knowledge is the only way out. And not knowledge in a library, not knowledge in a schoolhouse, not knowledge in a church. Knowledge of self, knowledge of the universe, knowledge of reality. When you have those pieces of knowledge, you empower yourself. You give yourself that boost that you need to get up and out of the manipulation and deceit. Because when you get up out of it, you see it, you're going to be angry about it at first. Right? But then, because you fell for it, I fell for it, we all fell for it. That's part of the part of the process here, right? These people have been playing this game a long time, and they know all about death and reincarnation, so they don't have any problem wiping out 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million, 7.5 billion people on this planet, hitting the Great Reset button. You don't know what you are beyond this physical body, and then boom, you're right back into Prison Planet. Yep. I don't want that. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for any soul, any piece of creation. Knowledge is the only way out. 8, be the example you want others to be. You can't point at something and expect them to be held accountable when you don't hold yourself accountable. And we all have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to be responsible to ourselves. We have to care for ourselves. And when you begin to love yourself, care for yourself, learn about yourself, what makes you tick, what makes you talk, what makes you get up out of bed, what's important to you, what are your true values, beyond this, the idea, this platter of here's what you get to choose from, right? There's well more beyond all of that. So much beyond that. Be the example you want others to be. It's not, oh, I'm a vegetarian and you're horrible because you eat animals. Or I'm a vegan and you're even worse because you eat fish and other things. That's judgment. Everything, we have dominion over everything on this planet. And dominion doesn't mean destruction. It means to care for, to crop, to grow, to produce, to reproduce, not to destroy and control and then regulate and make up false profits, false values, diamonds, gold, all nonsense. De Beers, 1920, look into it. Be the example you want others to be. 9, life is abundant everywhere. The matrix, the media matrix, the manipulation, the education systems, the information that they put out is, oh, we're these horrible things that kill everything around us, and it's all our fault, and we've wiped out all these species, and we're the only things in the planet that exist, and maybe life is out there. Oh, we found bacteria on Mars. Oh, hell, now we found water on the moon, but we've been there for 50 fucking years, right? Life is abundant everywhere. The deepest, darkest crevices of Earth, the hottest parts, all the way out to the coldest depths of space. Life exists everywhere. Life is abundant. It is endless. It will never stop. It will never end. You, me, we are all a part of this life experience. 10, you, me, we, all of us chose this destination in space and time. Be grateful to be alive. However, I did just say if you don't know what's going on and you do die, you will just be recycled and shot back down here until you figure out that there's more. However, lot of us chose to be here to help others realize that there is more and that we don't have to continue to live Groundhog Day century after century after century and just change outfits and hairstyles. Like, enough. 11, let go of fear. Both sides, whole time, fear. How about we're globally $230 trillion in debt and we still haven't solved any of these problems and they're compoundingly getting worse? Critical thinking, common sense, and keeping track of what's going on. We keep track and we hold people accountable. They can't just keep running up the tab, right? We can't keep voting dipshits in that are going to do that either side. We just got to say, stop running the tab. We haven't solved this problem over here. Like, honestly, Flint, Michigan, who in their right mind would vote for another 8 years of tyranny against their own state? Come on, people. Have you not been paying attention? The prior administration screwed them. The administration before that screwed them and screwed them and screwed them. Then you got somebody who's coming along and he's actually fixing stuff there, keeping his promises, but no, they're going to vote for the abuser. They got Munchausen syndrome, millions of them. A lot of you do, and you don't even realize it. The media lies to you constantly, day in and day out, minute after minute, and you go back to it for more. There's a great quote from Denzel Washington. Denzel, not the actor Denzel, not him playing a role. This is actually from Denzel Washington's mouth. And it goes like this, quote, if you watch the news, you're misinformed. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. And if you have no idea what's going on, what they're talking about, you're part of the chaos of manipulation. Fear. Forget everything and run. Face everything and rise. Or false evidence appearing real. I'll repeat that last one. False evidence appearing real. There's a whole lot of that going on right now. And if you have no discernment, you say, well, it is what it is, and this is the new guy, and that's the way it's always been. Instead of saying, wait, why in the hell we're having to count more ballots because we didn't expect to have all these people mail in ballots for the first time. Oh, we didn't? Well, where are they at? Let's see them. Let's verify those ballots. Huh? Oh, no. We can't let you back there to verify them. You're going to have to just trust us. Trust the government. Trust us. We've never done anything wrong. We never lied, manipulated, cheated, done anything. Nope, never gone to war, never dropped bombs, never dropped nuclear bombs, never gave African-Americans syphilis under the guise of free health care. No, the government's never done that. Moving on. Let go of fear. 12. Exactly how many strands your DNA will activate to once you've jumped off and don't look back. Again, knowledge is power. The system wants you to think that 99% of your DNA is junk. It's worthless. We don't know what it is. Here's what your ancestry is from all these countries that you're from. Okay. Your DNA is powerful. You are powerful. We are powerful. And if we're all divided and we're all bouncing off the walls, not agreeing on simple things like, boy, this has never happened before. Yes, let's take the time to make sure we do get the count correct. We should probably bring in a third party to, check this out for everybody. And if these people have been cheating, the highest, most severe sentence we can hand out. So we make it known you don't play these games anymore. They did it to our parents. They did it to our grandparents. They did it to our great-grandparents. They've done it for generation after generation after generation. And now the cat's out of the bag. Again, if you don't know who Hermes Trismegistus is or the Hermetica, I would highly recommend you start there. If you don't know who Doreen Virtue is, I think it's Doreen. No, is it? Either way. Sorry, not Doreen Virtue, Dolores Cannon. If you don't know who Dolores Cannon is, I suggest you go to the library, grab a book. If you don't know about quantum entanglement, or there's a plethora of places to start. Find something that interests you beyond the stock market, beyond what's for dinner, beyond what's for lunch, beyond what can we have for dinner. And it's funny. If you're not paying attention, like, for example, last video, we talked about the letter that came out, the open letter, right? And the New World Order and how they're marching us all in that direction. They are. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media platforms are all marching people in that direction by controlling information, controlling what you need to know, speculative information or not. We all have the freedom of speech, and if we find something that is important that we should share, we all have the right to share that information regardless of a third-party corporation. If they cannot validate it, like Snopes, get the hell out of here. Really? Snopes.com? Come on. Who owns it? Who's he shaking hands with? Let's go ahead and trust this third-party fact check. Wikipedia, you can go in and edit anybody's information at any time. Right? This is about self-discernment. This is about finding the real knowledge and what resonates, not with your logical thinking brain, what resonates with your heart, what resonates with your gut. Because we think with our heart before we think with our gut, before we think with our brain. But they don't teach us that in basic primary school. They don't want you to know how smart you really are. They just want you to get in line, sit in a box. Like, school's good for two things. It's either good to put you in a cubicle or it's going to put you in a prison cell. And they're both about the same size. The only difference is one gives you the illusion of freedom. The other one's telling you when you got to pee, right? And they both do that, honestly. So thank you for tuning in. There's a whole lot going on. Remember, the 5th of November, Guy Hawkes Day. If you don't know who Guy Hawkes is, go take a look at that. It's pretty incredible. We are so much more incredible and powerful and just beautiful than we've ever been taught or told. And the system's not going to tell you that. You got to realize that for yourself. You got to come out of this sleepy haze and this fog and snap to it and step in line with everybody else who's awake, because all of us who are awake, we see something you don't see, and it's not scary. It's not apocalyptic. It's not, the end of the world, right? There's something so much more beautiful and better for everybody once we get through this. Once everybody gets on the same page that, oh, wait, there are people who will lie, steal, cheat, and manipulate, and they are put in positions of power. Who created the positions of power? Why do we still allow them to stand? Why haven't we brought forth any alternatives? And the only way we get alternatives is by suggesting them. And those alternatives are going to come forth. And we just got to take it one step at a time. But until we get to the next step, first step is we got to get through all of these ballots that showed up in the middle of the night with somebody's name on them that shouldn't be there. And boy, I sure hope they got everything right when they made that ballot. Because if they didn't make everything right, man. Oh, buckle up, because this is gonna shake the entire globe. This is a 9/11 type event. And what came out of 9/11 was a bunch of manipulation, a bunch of fear-mongering, and a bunch of bullets and bombs flying into countries that we had no right going into, and that a bunch of our own rights, our own securities traded away for false information. Time to pay attention. Time to stop listening to the mainstream. And time for all of us to become the heroes. Because united, we're unstoppable. And we are all one, each having this individual experience. Thank you for joining me. This one's a little shorter than usual, and I'm late, but I had a lot of things going on. We have a new episode of the D-Train and Wanakana Show dropping tomorrow. This week's episode, we're talking about our top 10 in our music list, Spotify and Pandora. It'll be a fun one. Everybody loves music. We are all an instrument of God's creation, here to play a part in this symphony called life. Tune those instruments. Get the garbage out, get the doubts out, get the fears out, tune them up, and let's go out and let's play this world. And until next week, thanks for joining me. I'm John Swanson.